Now, I know many of you are skeptical about Trump's sanctions, tariffs that are coming on August 8th. I am too. I get that. But something appears to be working, and it's really bizarre to watch. I'll show you what I mean here. It's already kicking in a weird way. We're going to start here with UATV as they're explaining, giving us some of the backdrop. Let's listen to this for just a moment.
The new restrictive measures are intended to force oil refiners to look for other suppliers.
Putin can live under sanctions. He can disregard Russian soldiers. But China, India, and Brazil will have to choose between the American market and helping Putin.
Yeah, okay. So China, Brazil, India, they're going to have to choose between our market and theirs. Okay, so that was when he was talking with Keir Starmer. I don't know why they voiced that over rather than just let it, but maybe that was just clearer for UATV. Trump just put out this tweet talking about, remember, while India's our friend, you got to knock this off. You're going to have this 25% tariff above and beyond starting on August 1st. Okay, here's a little bit more from that same Truth Social post. Trump says this: I don't care what India does with Russia. They can destroy their dead economies together. It makes no difference to me. We already do business with India. Their tariffs are among the highest in the world, and they really are. Like, I had a friend when I was in graduate school, good buddy of mine, Samir Patel, who I was asking him when he was about to return to India, so you're bringing your car back? No, I mean, it would cost me more than the car itself to bring it back, because there's like, it was like, I think at the time it was like a 200% tariff for the vehicle to bring it back in. That's a protectionist measure to protect Tata Motors. That's their local manufacturer in India. And so that's what India already does. So Trump's not he wants to bring these tariffs. Like and the rest of the world can kind of sense he's wanting to do this based on what he's done everywhere else. So, okay. So same goes for Russia and the U.S. There's almost no trade. Let's keep it that way. And someone should tell Medvedev, Russia's failed ex-president who still thinks he's in charge, to watch his words. Now, Medvedev and Trump have gotten into a war of words here recently. I'm not going to cover that right now. Maybe, put it in the comments. Do you want me to talk about that, or do you want me to leave it alone? But he said he's entering very dangerous territory. Okay, so Trump slams Russia and India as dead economies and warned Medvedev that he's entering dangerous territory after threats and an ultimatum. Now, what's really happened that's big is this: Indian state refineries have paused Russian oil purchases. Look, we're 8 days away from the 10-day deadline, which was supposed to be 50 days, and that then got reduced at about day 38 or so to 10 days. Yeah. Indian state refiners have paused Russian oil purchases as discounts shrink after Trump's threat of tariffs. So it's just the threat alone that's causing this. Okay, so let's look at this. Anton Gerashenko posted this. Indian oil refineries have started looking for alternatives to Russian oil flowing to the EU's tightening of sanctions against Russia and possibly secondary sanctions from the U.S. It's probably more of the latter than the former. This marks a further indication that markets are gradually distancing themselves from Russian energy supplies. A little bit more. This is from Nexta. Trump's plan works. India stops buying Russian oil after a warning. Indian state-owned refineries have suspended the purchase of Russian oil following statements from Donald Trump. Well, why did we just do this to begin with? Like, Trump could have done this 6 months ago. Biden could have done it years ago. Why didn't we just do this? According to sources, Indian Oil Corp, Hindustan Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum, Mangalore Refinery have halted their purchases due to reduced discounts on Russian oil and Trump's threat to impose 100% tariffs on countries cooperating with Moscow. And so, again, it's not just that Trump wants to do something to Russia, which it does seem like he does want to put pressure on them, but it's that with tariffs, and he really wants to do the tariffs thing, and it flows together so well. I think tariffs are stupid, but okay. Instead of Russian oil, the refineries have started buying crude from the Middle East and West Africa. While private companies, Reliance and Narya, remain the largest buyers, state-owned companies control over 60% of India's refining capacity. Earlier, Trump threatened to punish India for buying oil and weapons from Russia. Okay, well, something's changing. In fact, there's this too. After EU sanctions package, Microsoft stopped cooperation with Indian refinery, which is 49% owned by Russia's Rosneft. Okay, so it's moving that direction. U.S. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham advised Russia to contact countries that buys its oil and gas, which help fund its war machine. See if they share the Kremlin's dismissive stance on sanctions, because the Kremlin has basically been saying there's nothing to see here. This isn't going to change our policy. China's doing the same thing so far. This isn't going to. We're a sovereign nation. Nothing's going to happen here. I'm not so sure about it. Something is shifting. Now, there's also this article in the Kyiv Post, Axis of Upheaval. Bipartisan U.S. senators joined forces to bar Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran from America's oil reserves. So when we go into it, what we find here is that in a rare display of bipartisan unity, U.S. Senators Ted Cruz, a Texas Republican, John Fetterman, a Pennsylvania Democrat, he's really a very weak Democrat. He's right on the border. Like Pennsylvania is a purple state, not blue, not red. It's kind of goes either way. So, but nonetheless, it's really Cruz, the Republican that you want to watch here, have proposed an amendment to the upcoming 2026 National Defense Authorization Act that would prohibit the sale or export of petroleum from America's strategic petroleum reserves to several key geopolitical rivals. The proposed amendment aims to prevent any oil drawn from the nation's emergency reserves from reaching Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, or any entity under their ownership or control, including those tied to the Chinese party. So they have these increasing indicators that, we're really taking a more fully throated approach to bringing the pain to Russia. And that's good. That's really good. Okay. Trump signs order imposing 50%. Now, again, Trump really wants the tariffs. And that's why I think things are going to go forward. And he's not fooling around with these tariffs either. Trump signs an order imposing a 50% tariff on Brazil and copper products. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an order imposing 50% tariff on imports from Brazil. The tariff in response to actions by Brazil that, according to the U.S., pose a threat to national security. Additionally, starting in August, Trump is imposing a 50% tariff on imports of copper, semi-finished products, and derivatives, citing national security concerns. But see, here's the thing. Lula has got to be on notice that taking this oil from Russia is going to cause an additional 100% tariffs because he's already willing to do this. So I think that's how the psychology is working, at least how it's worked with India. Whether it works with China is yet to be determined. Okay, now, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt stated that Trump should have long been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his role in resolving international conflicts. Trump really wants the Peace Prize. And I'm wondering now if Trump has been taking the path that he has by just giving time and time and time, not just because he kind of seemed to relish that relationship with Putin, but maybe because he's after that Peace Prize and figured out, well, this path isn't actually getting me there. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below if that may be, if that theory may have wings. Okay, President Trump has told the UN Security Council that he hopes and expects a deal to end Russia's war in Ukraine by August 8th. The U.S. is ready to take further measures if there is no progress. I don't see that there will be any progress. I don't see that Putin is going to fold anytime soon, and that's everything. There is no single piece of information that I have read that shows me that might happen. Okay, Michael McFall posted this. It's a good sign that Dugin has now turned on Trump. Yeah, I said that the other day. Trump, it says Dugin, Trump has destroyed the very possibility of good relationships with the best, the good, and even the bad. Only the worst are now following him. Okay, so he has been like a bull in a china shop, but if Dugin's unhappy, that's probably a good thing. The Russian paper, Steve Rosenberg does this thing where he's reading Russian news every day, and he had two parts today, and one was about something not related, and then there was at the end, he was talking about this collision unavoidable with the United States. Trump and Putin locomotives are careening toward each other. Let's listen to this.
Moving on to Donald Trump's 10-day deadline to Russia. Kommersant, 10 days that won't bring peace. The paper calls the deadline a knowingly unrealisable ultimatum. Moskovsky Komsomolets, a head-on collision, it seems, is unavoidable. The Trump and Putin locomotives are careering towards each other, and no one is about to move to the side or stop and reverse. The US president made his position very clear: surrender within 10 days or I will fall on you with all my might. The Russian president also made his position very clear: silence in response to a series of ultimatums speaks volumes about the essence of the Kremlin's response, more eloquently than words. Both leaders have put themselves in a position where a change of course means losing face. This is unacceptable for Putin and for Trump.
Okay, so with that, we just saw this. Putin is expected to make an important statement today, likely in response to Trump's recent threats, Kremlin spokesperson Peskov has said. So we're waiting for it. It hasn't hit yet at the time that I'm recording it, but I'll sure bring that to you tomorrow. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to speed. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Rubio revealed that he held talks this week with members of Putin's inner circle in an effort to find common ground to end the war in Ukraine. Despite a full dialogue, no progress was made, Rubio stating that the discussions were comprehensive. They did not lead to any breakthroughs toward peace. Now, that wasn't going to a place and like having Istanbul conference, we're coming together. This was kind of quietly behind the scenes, just trying to reach out. That's kind of how the diplomacy should be done. It hasn't reached anything, but that's how it should work. Okay, I saw this and I thought, that's interesting. Meme of the day, President of Laos gifted Putin 2 elephants. Putin's response was, they will be useful in the household. Thank you, he said, and he replied with a smirk. And I thought, okay, so remember Laos was potentially going to be supporting Russia as well. And this was a thing about 2-3 weeks ago. The commentary said, well, he sent the animals as a bribe to India, which refused to buy Russian oil. Okay, well, see how these things are all tied together. And like, of course, he's not about to do that or anything. That's not the point. But yeah, like it's really interesting. Then I saw this. Nicaragua's president, Daniel Ortega, he's kind of a bad guy, has declared that his government recognizes the Russian annexation of Ukraine's Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson regions. So the guys that Putin hangs out with, the president of Laos now, Kim from North Korea, Daniel Ortega, Cuba, I mean, like all kind of not really the best characters, right? Okay, but they're recognizing those 4 provinces. Ortega expressed his support for Russia in a letter to Putin, claiming to back Moscow's fight against what he called Ukrainian neo-Nazism, supported by NATO. Neo-Nazism. Sure, show me the Nazis. Where are they? Like, identify them for us. Okay, and then I saw this, and this kind of made me think, I wonder if this goes back to the last. Ukraine has been warned that individuals with links to drug cartels have been volunteering to serve with Ukraine's International Legion to acquire drone expertise to fight their own wars back home. I don't know if that was easier than joining Russia's or if it was just that they figured their chance of life expectancy was bad with Russia. But apparently it seems that Latin American drug cartels are sending volunteers to Ukraine for drone training, and they're useful to Ukraine. So like Ukraine wants all the help it can get. But on the backside of this, we might have some other problems. Mexico's National Intelligence Center had warned Ukraine about individuals linked to drug cartels volunteering to join Ukraine's International Legion. The CNI warned that these individuals were coming to Ukraine not to support the war against Russian aggression, but simply to gain expertise in the use of first-person view kamikaze drones for their own internecine fights against other cartels and Mexico's security forces. Wow, that's weird. On the backside of this war, there's going to be all these unintended consequences of the war, and some are going to be positive and some are going to be very negative. And here's one of the potential negatives. While there's going to be all kinds of positives, like a positive one would be, for example, like the dispersion of Ukrainians into all these other countries. They're going to bring back knowledge and thinking that Ukraine just didn't have before, and it's going to help Ukraine really flower and blossom. Okay, originally limited to Ukrainian volunteers, this technical and tactical training has been open to trustworthy foreign volunteers. It provides grounding in drone manufacture, mission planning, reconnaissance, operations, electronic warfare, counter-electronic warfare techniques, as well as experience in low-altitude flying. Now, Mexico, I'm used to saying Moscow. Mexico's allegations are proved. The SBU-HUR investigation has already uncovered evidence of criminal infiltration. One case mentioned was that of a volunteer from El Salvador with the call sign Agulia 7, who, following a full drone training cycle conducted at Lviv's Kill House Academy, was serving with logistical support team for a drone unit in Kharkiv. So he was serving on the front line. Like, they don't want to send him back. I mean, if he's killing Russians, that's a positive thing for the Ukrainians. But after an investigation, it was discovered he was a Mexican who previously served with the country's GAFE Special Forces Air Mobile Group, several former members of which are known to have become members of the ultra-violent Zetas cartels. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure even what to say to that article. Okay, last little bit. Ukraine's financing gap could widen due to delayed reforms. Only 1/3 of Ukraine's $65 billion financing needs for 2026-2027 has been secured, central bank governor revealed, as delayed reforms threaten to widen the country's funding shortfall. But the reforms, it worked. Like, go back one video to this, it worked. It was a really good day for Ukraine. Democracy prevailed. And they signed the bill. Like, this was a big unforced error that turned out to be absolutely awesome for Ukraine. So go back to this last video. This is what you're going to want to watch next. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.